The House's first hearing on where COVID came from. Everybody knows now it came from a lab that Fauci funded. So the lying mad scientist went on CNN last night to get ahead of the hearing.
Still remains unknown at this particular point. There are two theories, as we're all familiar with now. One is a lab leak theory. The other is that it was a natural occurrence from an animal spillover. The one thing is that we have to keep an open mind about this until there's definitive evidence.
So Fauci's open-minded now. A month ago, he said there was no evidence, and now he's open-minded. Fauci's open-minded that his lab partner might have killed 1 million Americans. I guess that's progress. The FBI admitted they knew it nearly 2 years ago.
The FBI has long assessed, going all the way back to the summer of 2021, that the origin of the pandemic was likely a lab incident in Wuhan.
And so today, former CDC director Robert Redfield took the stand and backed up the FBI. And he said he knew it was man-made from the jump, too.
This pandemic did not start in January at the seafood market. We now know there was infections all the way back into September. This was a narrative that was decided that they were going to say this came from the wet market, and they were going to do everything they could to support it, to negate any discussion about the possibility that this came from a lab.
And the CDC director then said that Anthony Fauci's a liar. And he accused the lying mad scientist of perjuring himself. Listen.
Do you think that Dr. Fauci intentionally lied under oath to Senator Paul when he vehemently denied NIH's funding of gain-of-function research?
I think there's no doubt that NIH was funding gain-of-function research.
Is it likely that American tax dollars funded the gain-of-function research that created this virus?
I think it did, not only from NIH, but from the State Department, USAID, and from DOD.
Oh, from DOD. That's the bioweapons angle. So Fauci can't admit it was a lab leak because then he'd be on the hook for it. He'd be an accessory to the murder of 1 million Americans. Now, if you train the lab and you pay the lab that springs a leak and kills us, then your hands are dirty. And Fauci knows he's dirty because he's been covering up for China from the very beginning.
I was excluded from those discussions.
Why would they do this?
Because I had a different point of view, and I was told they made a decision that they would keep this confidential until they came up with a single narrative. This was an a priori decision that there's one point of view that we're going to put out there, and anyone who doesn't agree with it is going to be sidelined. And as I say, I was only the CDC director, and I was sidelined.
So the lying mad scientist financed Chinese coronaviruses and then iced out anybody who fingered him, and then lied under oath about what he did. Clay Travis is the Outkick founder. All right, Clay, so he obviously perjured himself. I guess lying to Congress is okay now. You ever think you're going to see Fauci behind bars?
I think he should be charged 100%. I think it's one of the big reasons, Jesse, why who wins in 2024 is going to matter in an immense degree. Because remember, if Republicans didn't have control of the House, the hearing today wouldn't have happened. So this is a significant and consequential event. I wonder whether the Department of Energy and the FBI would have come out as aggressively about where COVID came from, in their opinion, out of a Chinese lab, which I think anyone with a functional brain now has to recognize and has been recognizing for several years, even when it was a conspiracy theory. If Republicans win and take back the White House and can put an honest attorney general in to replace Merrick Garland, I think there should be an investigation opened into whether or not Dr. Fauci perjured himself in his testimony in Congress. And remember, this is also significant. I believe he may well have paid off other scientists to change their opinions about where this COVID virus came from by way of grants. He gave millions of dollars in grants to a couple of scientists that initially said, Jesse, hey, we think this is coming out of a lab, who later changed their opinion and said, actually, it's from an animal. What I would point out is a couple of things here. Where's that animal? They've been looking for years now. I haven't seen any animal that they've been able to say, hey, this is where it came from. Kind of interesting. And who has the incentive to lie? This is always important, Jesse. You know. Why would Fauci lie? Because if he didn't lie, everyone would circle back around and say, wait a minute, you're telling me American taxpayer dollars were used on gain-of-function research to create COVID, which killed millions of people around the world, may well have changed the outcome of the 2020 presidential election. Of course, he has tons of reasons to lie. His legacy was at stake. I think he perjured himself with Rand Paul. And final thought here, Jesse. I was all set to go to Cancun for spring break, and I sat down and watched the open of your show, and now I'm convinced I'm going to get murdered next time I try to take a bong hit on the beach somewhere
Well, listen,
in Cancun.
we've been trying to get you killed for some time. We thought the spring break thing would do it, but you
and a lot of
outsmarted
people.
us again, Clay. All right, we'll think of something else. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Keep up the good work.